Welcome, friends, to another exciting episode of A VGM Journey. And I'm your host, The Messenger. The track that we're playing into today's show is Buccaneer Beach from the game Pac-Man World, and it was composed by Tommy Tallarico. Summer is now in full force, and we're starting to head into the warmest month of the year. And while you guys are possibly hanging out outside a lot, I'm sure that some of you are also listening to some pretty awesome VGM and VGM podcasts. And this next song, I think will totally suit the mood. This track is Light Plane from the game Pilot Wings, and it was composed by Soyo Oka. That track that you just heard, that was Light Plane from the game Pilot Wings, and it was composed by Soyo Oka. I always thought that Pilot Wings was a pretty interesting game, and it was a nice technical showpiece for the Super Nintendo, especially with its Mode 7 graphics. And flying around in that plane, it was super satisfying, I thought. And that soundtrack, oh boy, it's a good one. And while it is nice to be out in the sun and flying around in your plane, this next track, it's not really what you would think of when it comes to summer. And it's also happens to be a request from Ben the Dyad Dishman. Well, I kind of take that back. It wasn't exactly a request, but it was more of just brought to me, and I decided, hey, I'm going to play it on the show. This is Locker Room from the game Hit the Ice, and it was composed by Hiroshige Tsunomura. That track that you just heard, that was Locker Room from the game Hit the Ice. It was composed by Hiroshige Tsunomura, and it was requested by Ben the Dyad Dishman, who is also the host of The Dyad Presents a VGM podcast. So thank you, Ben, for that awesome track. If you know me, I absolutely love the sport of hockey, and I even did a whole show with Ed on his show VG Embassy where we covered nothing but hockey games. And we actually played a track from the arcade version of the game. So I thought it was super nice that Ben brought this track to me. And Hit the Ice is a pretty interesting game. It's a 2-on-2 hockey game where, well, you guess it, you play hockey. It plays kind of like NBA Jam, and it's also kind of just as wacky as NBA Jam as well. So I definitely recommend you guys check that out. So once again, Ben, I want to say thank you for the request. And this next track is also another request. This time from Carly Selesky. She wanted me to play something from Dry Mouth. This is Fatty Chop's theme, and it was composed by Jake Kaufman. That track that you just heard, that was Fatty Chop's theme from the game Dry Mouth. It was composed by Jake Kaufman, and it was requested by Carly Selesky. Thank you, Carly, for that track. And this game is pretty interesting. And I know that I say that about a lot of games, but I will say that this game is interesting. And that it was an unreleased Game Boy Color game that plays just like Mario's Picross, and it had a Jake Kaufman soundtrack. And I gotta ask myself, why was this not in stores? This sounds awesome. And when I was doing a little bit of research on the game, I found out that, yeah, it was in fact a finished product, but the developer couldn't find a publisher for this game, and that's why it was just unreleased. And that is such a shame. But it also is pretty fun when you can uncover a gem, or even have somebody else uncover this gem and send it to you. And this track, it is just so awesome. So, once again, Carly, thank you for this track. I think we're gonna bring up the mood a bit, big time, and I want to play something from Sonic Generations. This is Rooftop Run, the classic version, and it was composed by Jun Senoue. That track that you just heard, that was Rooftop Run, the classic version from the game Sonic Generations, and it was composed by Jun Sinoue. And that's going to just about do it for the show this week. If you like what you've been listening to, give me a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. And if your friends are looking for a nice VGM podcast, then have them check me out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, whatever podcatching service that you can think of. I'm going to be on there. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be on there. You can also email the show at vgmjourney@yahoo.com and also check us out on Twitter at vgmjourney. So I'm going to play things out with one more awesome track, and that track happens to be Last Man Standing from the game Shakedown Hawaii, and it was composed by Matt Creamer. So guys, have a good week.